I used to be a banker. I spent 17 years in the banking industry. I left banking. I worked for government. I worked with Nigeria Security and Printing Company. And in ABA, I was in charge of the northern operations. I also run business. I have interest in hospitality and I have interest in real estate as well. Having been exposed to leadership in my banking career, I go most of the business schools in the world, from Harvard to Oxford. As you do all of these things, you get to a point where you realize that life is not about you. There is always a higher calling. That desire for higher calling drove me into politics. For you to become an Ozo, you start from Nze. Your village, your quarter, before you put nature's ichi. But the village can recognize that you're doing very well. You have tarred road, you've brought development. They will call you Onyeagba Katanisi as a cabinet member, and it's an honor. The truth of the matter is that Buhari came in with a reputation of someone that has become a former military head of state and had the capacity to stop corruption. He did very well in foreign policy. The handling of the economy was not as good as it should have been. I went to Buhari's house. That time was during Hurricane Katrina, and he said, that God blessed Nigeria because we don't have natural disasters in our country. The only natural disaster we have in Nigeria are elites, because they are the ones that steal money. They travel abroad. They know how everything works. Now, when you tell someone in the village that someone has stolen $1 billion naira, they can't relate with it because they have never had that kind of money in their accounts.
Guinea City Boy movement to start with. Bam, 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 bam. I could have bam and well, bam, I do as well. I will not borrow by man of borrow, none about Macassi, man, not get bam, and I bought under the cordia, ending with leakage and the big talkers, never know who for Faku or that bam, I've ambuchu joke, Iguendo, Dogbu Yamba is what Onyeagba, Unumana bam. You expect to see the unexpected, and about people from all spheres of life, and man bam before diche, tata ayemwalo ezigbo mmadụ fọdụ n'ime unu wike unu amale fọdụ n'ime unu wike unu amanye mana afie malo ogolo onye bụ na ọbụ na iso n'ife a na-eme ikwesị ime onye anyị nọ tata ka anabata no for the first time on gbam ambassador Elijah Onyeagba. Elijah Onyeagba Bobo, the ambassador to Burundi, representing Nigeria. Obo Kwaketa, the chief of staff to the Southeast Coordinator City Boy movement. Ngara poze aka okowa nkozo na Igbakegba akwa chief ka obo. Ozompo ike nugo ku no mu adekwan lawyer. Onjiko ka njiko ka. No na gbam.
Thank you.
Otego Aichoba, I say in this City Boy movement. Biano Kuno Kowala and if I na Iwatago Kamalo, Kabaya touch, because Onyobna Nabala Jojo say man if in a Edo Kwanya, no Nabam, Kowala Kedo Onyebo Elijah Onyeagba. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Emma qualification required. If I lulu required, if I want to take if I want to telaka, I prefer can it Elijah Onyeagba. Okay. It's in your chief audio, okay. It's in your doctor audio, okay. It's in your zombo audio, okay. But also as a cultural enthusiast, it was on board, okay. You know, so if I'm you know, I used to be a banker.
Yes.
I left banking. I worked for government, you know, as a civil servant. I worked with Nigeria Security and Printing Company, and in ABA, I was in charge of the northern operations of that agency.
Wow.
I left it. I also run business. I have interest in hospitality and I have interest in real estate as well. You know, I've done that and they're all by the side. And I picked interest in politics because having been exposed to leadership, you know, in my banking career, I spent 17 years in the banking industry. You know, I retired very young. I retired from banking at the age of 36 or 37. I don't even remember. But after spending that long, you know, in the banking industry, at the time I was probably, you know, most of the business schools in the world, you know, Ivy League actually, from Harvard to Oxford to Wharton to London School of Economics to everywhere. I've been everywhere, around and about. You know, so you will find out that as you do all of these things, you get to a point where you realize that life is not about you. It's not just about your family. It's I can feed myself and live in a good house and ensure that my family, everyone is fine. But there's always a higher calling.
Yes,
there's always a higher calling. So when is that desire for higher calling drove me into politics, because you need to be in the space where experiences you've acquired over the years can find expression. And not just that, no matter what you can do as an individual, no matter what you want to do for yourself, for your people, for your community, there's a limit. What you can do in 30 years for your people, government can do in 10 minutes.
I agree.
And as against being on the criticism side, which is always the easiest part,
right?
Hey, yarn content, we find a lot of people in that space, but the problem is when you now have the opportunity, what have you done? I usually tell people, what have you done in your family? What have you done for Umunage? Bugo Youth Chairman, what did you do when you were given that responsibility? Bugo na church, heard the go choir. What did you do with that opportunity that was given to you? So leadership is like every layer. If I've done that for my family, what have I been able to do for my community? So that's leadership responsibility. So as against being on the sidelines and becoming a social critic of how government is not working, of how leaders at all spheres are not getting it right, I prefer to also throw my hat in the ring to say,
yes,
I think I have a better way of doing this.
Yes.
I've been exposed enough. What haven't I seen?
Yes.
I've seen the theory. I've also practiced it.
Yes.
So in fact, let me tell you, I come from a very poor background, so I understand the reason why I need to live my life in such a way that people can look up to me. My late father is a pastor. My late mother was a primary school teacher. So growing up from that background to also get to the heights where you have a presidential commission of representing the entire country, that's the highest level of representation. It's something that I believe that younger people should look up to. So I was in the banking industry. I felt that it is not enough to be in the corporate setting. I got to a managerial, I got to a highest one. In fact, I left the banking industry as a deputy general manager, meaning I was playing boardroom politics at a very young age. So we know how to manipulate, things at the corporate setting, But then again, I told myself if I joined policies at that time, it's not enough. I needed to also run businesses. So that led me into establishing businesses. Because if you want to make a policy for a business person, you need to be in that person's shoe. And I'll come back to this because it is when I joined business that I realized why people retire from civil service and they pay them their gratuity and they die quicker than they should have. The reason is because somebody will write a proposal for you that it takes 10 million naira to start a business. It will go a lot of gratuity to the end of that business without knowing that you get to a point where you need to inject another 5 million naira, of which if you do not inject that 5 million naira, you lose the 10 million naira that you have put inside. So that's also what doing business will expose you to. And that's why it's always good to start small. You start early. So that when we go to you still have enough energy. Yes. To be able to recover it back and then, keep moving. So that also drove me to that, because if you want to make policy for people, you have to be in their shoes. You have to understand what they are going through. So if I write 6 now, from where I am, I see 6. From where you are, you will see 9. So it will take either you or me agreeing to come to both sides to be able to agree that we are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that's also, so having done that, I also felt that the civil service is a very important area of whatever plan you want to do in politics. They are very integral. It's easy to abuse politicians that are not doing this, but if you also look at the operational architecture of civil service, you had the governor visited the office a couple of days ago.
Yes.
At 10 o'clock, people that were supposed to resume work at 8 o'clock is not there yet.
Yes.
But they have an idea what the governor is not doing right. They have an idea what the president needs to do so that Nigeria will be good.
Yes.
But the little one they have, which is just to resume work from 8 to 5 o'clock, they don't do it.
Yes.
Do you understand? So again, for you to make policy for that kind of person, you also need to be in that space and understand what is going on. So I left a job of a very high-paying job. I was pretty much very senior executive in the banking industry. I earned maybe somewhere close to 5 million naira. I left it for a job of 380,000. How do you explain that to your wife? Do you understand? But for me, it wasn't really the pay that was the motivation at that time. I needed to do something that will make me think like a civil servant, so that if you want to put a corrective measure, you will have an understanding of how they think. So you'll be able to do. So that's actually what made me to. So politics for me is not, it was a matter of when, not if. So I've always known I was going to, be out in the public space. So that's why I tried to prepare myself to be able to do that. So I think I've said quite a lot, but this is basically my journey that culminated in, me becoming what I am today. And all of these experiences, when you put them together, you will see that when I sit down and speak to someone in the corporate world, we can speak the same language. When I sit down and talk to an entrepreneur, there's nothing you have been through trying to set up this factory that I do not know, or at least have a faint idea of. Oh, you have a manufacturing concern. Oh, you have this. If you speak to me, I will understand. So when I make policies for you, I understand that if you're setting up a business, even in your capital, you require a buffer, just in case things don't always work out.
Go as you plan.
I'm an economist by training. So in economics, we use this maxim we call ceteris paribus. Basically, what it means is all things being equal. But that's the foundation of all business proposals. But in reality, all things are never equal. Do you understand? So while you're preparing for the proposal you've been given, also prepare for the eventuality, because eventuality is a constant in life.
Yes.
So that's also what made me to also go to how do you deal with civil servants really? So what I hear when I work as a civil servant is this is not possible. We don't do that here. It is not possible and all of that. So even the little time I spent there, some of the things that they say was not possible, I also made them to be possible within that very little time. So the thing is that transformation is possible, but you start from yourself first. Start within the space that you're occupying. I'm just coming from Unizik. Now, where a professor stood up and said that all these things we are talking about is not possible in Nigeria. I said, but that's the point. You must build a culture of excellence. Forget about the bigger picture. Start from the small. Start from yourself. Make your office an excellent place. Forget about the next person. I think, somehow when everybody begins to do the way you're doing, a collective excellent people in every other place makes a collective society. So that's basically what it is about.
Onyeagba, history is about to be made in the city of Awka, Anambra State.
A new era of dynamic repositioning is set to begin.
The wait is over. The time is now. Miles Magazine International, in collaboration with Pine Leaf Estate and Properties Limited, brings to you a historic night of awards.
This award night will feature cultural presentation, glamour, skill acquisition sponsorship, and scholarship.
Distinguished guests for the night include His Excellency Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo Oluwatuegu, Prince Atoeze Ozuibondo, and many more.
The date for this event is Saturday, 27th of June 2026.
Red carpet starts by 4 p.m. and the main event by 5 p.m. Venue is Stanel Dome, Awka.
We know you wouldn't want to miss this for anything, so take the dates on your calendar.
Be there, be seen, be part of history.